and I've never spoken of him until now. Not to anyone, not even your grandfather. A woman's heart is a deep ocean of secrets, but now you know there was a man named Donald Trump, and that he groped me in every way that a person can be groped. It's been 84 years.
Good. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Viewers Discretion. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Lawgic. You miss me? You miss me? There we go. If you started the show, you're watching afterwards, and you started the show, and you see me open with my croaky good evening, everyone. That means that YouTube made me take that down. But let's tell you, I don't know what to tell you. I couldn't pass that up, and I figured maybe if I do it at the very beginning, they won't notice it. Maybe I do it at the very beginning. I don't know. Maybe I can get it by. If you know, you know, and if not, sorry. I do my best. I do my best to provide what I can. Okay. No, don't say it ain't so, Wrestler Town. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I hope you all been doing well. My holiday's been going really well. The only bad part that came out was actually after my holiday ended. I checked my mail, and I see I got a letter from the Supreme Court, a one-page letter, telling me that Justice Sotomayor does not want to grant a stay. And has denied my stay. And has told me I can go jump in a lake. It's very disappointing considering the fact that I was quoting her back to herself and all the reasons why her own prior cases dictate, and I'm in the right here, not to be undaunted. What is the next stage? Many of you are probably asking, what is the next step? What's going to happen? Joe, where we go from here? The next stage that we go from here is actually to Justice Clarence Thomas. And I have the opportunity to choose which of the justices I would like to have review my application. First go round was on Sotomayor. Next go round is going to be with Justice Clarence Thomas. Will he grant my application? I think he should, certainly. Statistically, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be real with you. Statistically, odds are not in favor of a justice disregarding a rejection from a prior justice. Like, if it happens, it'll be the first time in, I think I heard 5 decades. But I got to tell you, if there's a place where it should happen, this is it. It's not like it's never happened before. And Justice Thomas, I mean, come on. He's got to be looking at, like, how much time do I have left? they're already hanging me in effigy. What do I have to lose? And this is right. This is what the law says. I don't know. So my attorney for Good Lawgic has submitted his follow-up application to Justice Alito. I plan on submitting mine to Justice Thomas. I have to still research exactly what steps I need to take in order to submit that follow-up request. I think it's a little bit more complicated than the initial filing I did with Justice Sotomayor. And even if Justice Thomas doesn't want to step into the breach and grant my application, I can go, the next step would be for a more formal application for a writ. And then I have to figure out whether I'm going to merge back with Good Lawgic or stay separate. Merge back or stay separate. And that's a legal decision I'm going to have to discuss with my attorney at that point, assuming that neither Alito nor Thomas are willing to step into the breach and grant the applications that are being made separately currently by Good Lawgic and myself individually. So that is the story. This is the only way that he would be able to get freed up to talk potentially before the election, although now obviously the clock is running very short on that. But even for it to beat his return date into court, in which I think is what, November 18th or 26th, I don't remember. We'll see. Anyway, but that's the update that I want to provide you all, so you all have the background on that. The way I plan on structuring tonight, I got a whole bunch of videos, a whole bunch of clips to share with you guys. Some of them are like breaking stories and things like that about fraud going on in Pennsylvania and other places, and efforts, which I think we should take heart from. I think we should take heart from the fact that these things are being exposed prior to the election rather than after the election, because after the election, no one's going to do anything. And prior to the election, at least we see that there's steps being taken in order to help ensure that this election process goes properly, which I don't recall very much of that happening until actually election day itself last time. So that's certainly an improvement. That should help us take heart. And frankly, the way the numbers are coming in right now, thank God, Leonhard, all in the hands of God. Everything's in the hands of God. But frankly, the way the numbers are coming in right now, I mean, there's only so much fraud you can do. And the numbers, every poll you see is just they're talking about, if you go to Real Clear Politics, he's now in the lead for the national popular vote. According to Radio Politics, he was sharing a video on that just moments ago. Let me see if I can find that for you here. Let's find what he found. But the national polling average, that he's in the lead. That's crazy. No one ever thought he would win. No one ever thought he would. No one ever thought that he would take the national election. Look at this. No way. I don't buy this at all. New Jersey by 12 for Harris. Please. I don't buy it. That's a lie. Shiloh saying, imagine that a lefty judge denying a sound legal argument. Keep fighting, Joe. Hopefully Thomas sees Justice Sotomayor's error. Hopefully he does. Hopefully he does. Hey, look at that. Hail chat. I like those kinds of messages. Hail chat. Yeah, the national polls are looking pretty good right now for him. I mean, one after another. When you look at these national polls, you're seeing stuff like Trump +3, Trump +2, even Harris +1. The overall, he found a thing. He was sharing a video where he was basically saying that on the national level, that if you look at the national polls here, he actually is now indexing as being 0.1 ahead of her. If you index these polls in together, I don't know how he pulled it up from there, but yeah, which that would be astonishing. Even polling this high, in comparison, in October of 2020, Biden was up by 7.8 points. In October of 2016, Hillary was up by 5.8. They each ended up winning by much narrower margins than that, because they always underestimate Trump. That's just what they do. The JRE episode is fire. We're going to go through. So it's 3 hours. I can't do 3 hours. It's what I've been doing this show long enough to recognize that whatever time I spend covering something, whatever length of duration the time is on that show, if I'm going to cover it and provide any sort of insight and perspective of my own, it basically takes twice as long. So, I mean, 6 hours, I don't even know where to begin with that. If I'm looking at a 6 hour show, where would I even start with that? And I know that like halfway through, I would start feeling like really bored in trying to provide commentary on it. I'm not saying that the interview itself is boring. I'm sure it's really entertaining. But instead, what I plan on doing with you all is I want to give you highlights. It's presented to us by the Vigilant Fox, who happen to be it's the only person I subscribe to on X is Vigilant Fox, because he gives me stuff like this, which is golden. So this is the full thing summarized in under 10 minutes, as Vigilant Fox puts it. So we're going to go through his little thread here, which he says should take me less than 10 minutes, which means I should do in 20. But I want to break it down for you all so we can actually catch the best moments from this. I haven't gone through this thread yet, but he said, Trump just accomplished what Kamala Harris never could. Take unscripted questions from Rogan and answer them directly and clearly. The conversation started with a bang as Rogan shed light on shocking footage from Trump's 2015 appearance on The View. Let's check this out. Let's start with this.
But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
My friend. Watch this. Just watch this. This is nuts. We're in an alternative universe. Okay, because this is not that long ago.
Go standing O.
Bro, watch this. Just watch how this goes. Watch this. So she's a Republican. That's easy.
Yep.
But everybody else.
The Joy
hugs.
Can't wait to get a hug in.
Yeah, everyone's hugging. Look at this. Look at this. Kisses, hugs, kisses to Whoopi. Everybody hugs and kisses. Even Joy Behar hugs
Even
and
Joy
kisses.
Behar hugs and kisses.
See? Now watch this.
So I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, but
not to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, so, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much. On the other hand, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that
not really. They were very comfortable.
Well, we won't review all that. Do you think
Getting laughs right away.
that would bother anybody?
It was very kind of Denise Ann saying, "Good evening, Joe, Mr. Beautiful." Soothing voice put me to sleep the last 4 days. I hope that my voice isn't too croaky tonight. But thank you. It's very kind of you to welcome me on back.
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
whether
crazy.
It's OPEC.
That's crazy.
OPEC, which is
Look at this.
they're
Watch
having
this.
a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
Why
so
aren't
then
they
they
paying
change
us?
their minds also. But you didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question. I really think
it won't
people,
matter?
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
If you,
The audience cheers.
Yeah.
When we have France leading the charge, okay? France, this is our new leader. By the way, they led for about 2 hours. After that, nobody's seen them. I don't know if you know that or not.
geographically, so they should. Let me just ask a follow-up question to that.
Lead is the point.
Let me just ask
instead
a
of the other way.
follow-up question to that. Let's say you run. You've given a lot of thought for this. Who would you like as your vice president? Possibly Sarah Palin?
Well, I think it's far too early even to discuss that. I'm going to make a decision sometime prior to June. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. It's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why aren't they paying us? If you look at...
So this is like actually him watching a clip from with someone else. I really want to get to him watching... I want to get to Trump's appearance on Rogan. So minutes later, in a moment of self-reflection, Trump told Rogan that his biggest mistake in his first term was appointing some bad people to his administration.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're right. It is kind of a little bit of a deflection in saying, yeah, I had bad people. But at least he can say, I picked them. It's something. It's something. That question, no one ever likes that question in an interview. What's your biggest weakness? Tell us about your mistakes. No one ever likes those questions. And I'm not expecting you to say, man, I sleep in all the time. I'm a drunk. What's your biggest weakness? What's your biggest weakness? I set fire to things. I just I have this thing. If I see something, I always want to see what does it look like when it's on. You never see. You don't expect people to do that in an interview. There's going to be some sort of shifting, but at least there's some accountability that he's the one to pay. Yeah. Just really, I just want to pause on on that note and tell you, it's very offensive when they cheapen Hitler that way. It's very, very offensive because you're basically pretending that, like, you know, like this guy who cut me off on a highway, oh my God, he's Hitler. Like, it's like when you start labeling everyone Hitler, and I've said this for years now, really for 3.5 years. I've been railing about this with them screaming about him being Hitler. It's very, very offensive because you're not actually, it's like you're out of platitudes to throw out there. So let's just go to the worst person of the last 150 years and compare our enemy to that individual. It doesn't make your enemy seem worse. All it does is it just makes seem like Hitler like not that bad a guy. That's all you end up doing. And it's very, very offensive. It's really anti-Semitic. And I've been yelling about it for the longest time. Now it's too late. It's too late. It used to be like it was like almost like the H word. Like people wouldn't even use the word because it was so obviously offensive and stupid to compare someone to someone who, you know, killed millions of civilians because he didn't like their DNA. And now you're just comparing someone who's like, oh my gosh, can you believe that he may have touched E. Jean Carroll? He's Hitler. It's like it's ridiculous thing in the world. It's very offensive, really. Bella Stella hit me with the fitty. I've missed you all too. When I don't get to do the show, I kind of feel like a little bit antsy. This is sort of like become like a part of my definition is doing this thing. So when I get put on hold like that, I get kind of antsy. So God bless you. Thank you so much. Fun fact: Space Force is an unfortunate logo that resembles the Smetana as the souvenir T-shirts are. Well, you know, I haven't seen it. Now I'm very curious. Let me see Space Force logo. Now I'm very curious. Space Force. See, I don't really see it. I don't really see what you're talking about here. It looks like they're trying to take off of Star Trek. That's Starfleet. Space Force. Yeah. I'm not really seeing it. Let me see if other images here, if one of them pops up. It does look like it's Europa Starfleet. The center part? I don't know. All right, let me get back into I did see this. I did see the Holocaust survivors landing for it. I was gonna play it, but I'm like, I saw the 94-year-old survivor was landing for it, and I might even have it here saved away, but I think I was like, I don't want to show that. Let's go on to the next clip here. We're doing right now the best of the Joe Rogan Trump interview, and then I'm going to go through the whole Kamala thing. Look for the ones with the rocket on it. The ones with the rocket on it. I'm supposed to see the rocket on it. What am I? Well, this one. All right. I see a little more. Space Delta. All right. That's London Pippy. All right, let's get to the next clip here. You know, I'm going to save that story. I'll save it for another time. Carson Depp saying the show survivor ad for Trump. Why should Jews support Trump? Because he's a mensch. Yeah, and the other thing that he pointed out that I thought was actually an important thing, which was the only reason I almost shared it, was because he made an interesting point, which is you never see Trump break his word and stab someone back, like make a promise and then change his mind on it completely. You never see him do that. And I thought it's an interesting point. You really don't. He won't say, like, I stand with this group that I'm now speaking to on issues that he won't actually stand with them. And so many politicians are just used to just throwing out like, yeah, to whatever it is you're cheering for, that's what I'm for. And you never see him do that, which is a really interesting element to him that he never really gets enough pub. If one of you has the show thing that you want to share with me, because he expresses it really well. And I was thinking about sharing the clip. I was like, I don't know. But I thought it was a really great point. But he does refer to him as being a mensch. If you're unfamiliar with the term mensch just means good person, good man. I think Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry would have approved of Space Odyssey. I'm sure he would have. That old hoe is not in her 40s. Yeah. You are not real. You are not in your 40s. I think she just turned 60. I think she literally just turned 60 like last week. That's my recollection. But I don't really care enough to look it up. Let's go to the next. On that point, I want to share with you all a clip here of Kamala. If I can find it quickly. Wait a moment here. Yeah, this is it. This is astonishing. This is going to blow your mind. This is something that every American should see. This is horrifying. This is Kamala talking candidly about her willingness to just abuse her power. What power she's had so far, that she was bragging about her willingness to abuse her power. Horrifying stuff. If this woman ever were to get any kind of real power, my God.
Dear Kamala Harris, let's get one thing crystal clear. The vast majority of American men have no issue with electing a female president. Our issue lies solely with you. You were second in charge of California for 13 years.
As California's Attorney General, Harris promoted enforcement of a law that allowed prosecutors to seek jail time for parents of truant kids.
As a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
I thought that was crazy. I was like, how can you lock parents up?
If you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
I opened the door and I see at least 7 or 8 cops like wanted to arrest me. As a matter of fact, they did.
And frankly, you know the prosecutors in my office who volunteered to do this? My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutors. And they went over there and I said, when you go over there, look really mean.
She had me arrested and prosecuted because my handicapped daughter was sick in the hospital and had missed some days of school.
I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. That person could be arrested. They could lose time from work and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community.
You listen to this monster? I mean, she's so proud that she's literally a monster. You talk about fascist? I mean, listen to this monster.
I lost my job and couldn't pay rent, and we got evicted.
Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed.
I became homeless.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's mind-blowing what an awful, terrible human being this person is. They try to portray her as Mamala. Oh, my God. She is a freaking monster. I saw this. I was just astonished It's her own words. Her own words. I don't think this is AI. I think this is really her.
The charges, but their life would forever be changed.
I became homeless. We had to move into a motel.
All because of the swipe of my pen.
I don't agree what Kamala Harris did to my mom. And I don't agree with what she's done to other parents as well.
You were second in charge of the United States for 4 years.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Inflation is hitting the highest level in 39 years. A record high number of illegal crossings.
Crime's been surging across the nation.
Huge spikes in homicides.
Could we be heading toward World War III?
After 17 years of failed leadership, you are now asking us to trust you as first in charge of our country.
I am concerned and focused on big issues. Elementary and middle school truancy is actually a big issue. If we're trying to save the state money, because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding. I want money.
My message to all Americans, do not trust Kamala Harris.
As men and protectors of women and children, you are simply a risk we are not willing to take.
Paid for by Maha Alliance and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tracy. I need to retweet this. I'm going to retweet this before I forget. I'm going to retweet this before I forget this. All right. Master Phillips gifting 5, count of 5 Good Logic memberships. God bless you. Who'd you bring in here? Who'd you bring in here? Am I too late? Am I too late? God bless you. I might be too late. I might be too late. If I am too late, I apologize. If I'm too late, I apologize. Yeah, I am too late. I am too late. But those who are welcomed into the following, courtesy of the King of Recruitment, Master Phillips. Welcome to the following. Following is not at all a cult. Type of cult. I am not the leader of the following. The following is really just an assembly of like-minded individuals who are very concerned about personal growth and try achieving that through community, unity, leadership training. We're here for you. We're here for you. Not at all a cult. Type of cult. And welcome to the following. Please express your gratitude to King of Recruitment, Master Phillips. Awesome. Thank you so much, my brother. Bring in another 5 to the fold. Shiloh says, I'm going back to clip this. I feel a Joe rant coming on. I'm going to hold back on the ranting for now. I think it speaks for itself. Look at the vastly different way she talks now. She's on drugs and shows. Could be downers and alcohol, but wow, she's much different now. Kamala, no, well, that's interesting. It's true. I didn't even think about that, but she does sound way more confused and just befuddled. Way more confused and befuddled. Let's get to the next clip here that Vigilant Fox shares from the Trump. Those of you who joined late, just letting you know what I'm doing is I'm sharing clips as shared by Vigilant Fox of X from the Joe Rogan Trump interview, because it's 3 hours long and it would take me 6 hours to go through it. But instead, I am sharing the best of, and then we're going to go through the Kamala town hall. That's the plan. I also have some really funny clips for you guys. But I started the show with one, which probably got me demonetized out of the gate. But hopefully not. Let's see what we got. Okay, but I do think that we really need to start addressing this. And it actually could help our economy if we actually started getting healthier, like naturally healthier. And if it's really as simple as starting to shave off some of these most destructive toxins out of our diet, I don't think we're going to notice it very much. And yeah, it's probably, if anything, it's probably just going to hurt the major food suppliers more than any of us. And the potential benefits could be astounding if you really think about it. Denise Ann says, Joey had Trump caravan today from Ozark, Missouri to Branson, and then had a flag wave for a couple of hours. It was so much fun. I have 3 events next weekend. It's 11th hour, folks. Trump 2024. Amen. Amen.
Do you have anyone that is?
Mm. How many more clips does he have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's go through them. So I'm enjoying this.
A big hug. So
well, that's
they
clear.
get Mueller.
That's
Well, the rest.
Something that a lot of people don't really even talk about. The 51 agents they're referring to is when the Hunter Biden laptop story came out. They all said this seems like Russian disinformation, that 51 agents lied, completely lied, because it was not Russian disinformation. They knew they were lying. They knew it was actually his laptop, and they knew that it was a completely crap story. But what they did was they actually, by referring to it as Russian disinformation, it sort of almost fostered and fed into the whole narrative that they had been playing for years, claiming that he's working together with Russia. So here's another example: Trump working with Russia now to create this whole laptop story. So they took what should have been a disaster for the Joe Biden campaign, and basically turned it on its head to say, no, this is a reason to distrust Trump because the Russians are working with Trump again. A lot of people, I think, miss the fact that spinning it that way was playing into the 2.5 years they spent claiming that he's a Russian asset, which is what Rachel Maddow called him, literally a Russian asset. I like that. You don't want to go with Texas. You're not making money there. But yeah, Virginia's not bad. Virginia's pretty good. Another state you might want to look at, New Hampshire, which supposedly she's leading by 4 points. I don't buy that at all. New Hampshire. Virginia, New Hampshire. Stay away from Michigan. Stay away from Michigan. I'm telling you now, he could win that state by 10 points. All of a sudden, Michigan will have 100 million people living in it. I'm telling you, stay away from Michigan. I don't think Whitmer, I think that whatever number of ballots he has there, they will generate another 20,000 more for Kamala. And they have no investigative powers for the legislature over there. Stay the hell away from banking on Michigan. Just give up on Michigan. Just give up. Whenever you see anything saying he's leading in Michigan, I saw he's leading by 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. I don't even know. In Michigan, I'm telling you now, in my heart of hearts, I believe he will definitely win Michigan, but he will never be declared the winner in Michigan. And I think that they're going to play all sorts of games. I think Gretchen Whitmer and Jocelyn Benson out there are going to basically make sure that whatever number of ballots are counted for Trump, that there will be an extra 20,000 minimum counted for Kamala. Don't bet on Michigan. Because they basically telegraphed that we're going to steal this for Kamala. They have a voter roll there, which has an extra 1.2 million people that they know are not. I saw a thing which basically was, which they know there's 1 million people on their voter rolls, which they know are completely ridiculous, not real, or no longer real, and that they're not planning on cleaning it up till 2027. Wonder why? Stay away from Michigan. I'm telling you, stay the hell away from betting on it. Don't bet on Michigan. Supposedly, they have 16,666 people over the age of 100. Over the age of 100 registered to vote in Michigan. That's a clip I saw. I don't know if I still have that clip. I might be able to pull that up here. 16,000 people over. Let me see if I can dig that up. Let me see if I can do that thing up here. This one. No, I don't know if I still have it. Here it is. This is why you stay away from Michigan if you're betting. If you want to live forever, register to vote in Jocelyn Benson's Michigan. Apparently, there's 16,666 people actively registered to vote who are over the age of 100 years old. That's more than the population of Grosse Pointe Woods. The only problem is that Social Security Administration shows there are only 2,119 centenarians alive in Michigan in 2023. But 16,000 of them are registered to vote. Now I only went public schools, but even I know simple math. This was a song that he made here.
Then register to vote. If you want to live forever, then register to vote in Jocelyn Benson's Michigan.
I can't play this. I can't play that.
166 people register to vote in Michigan who are over the age of 100. That's bigger than the population of Grosse Pointe Woods. The only problem is the Social Security Administration says there are only 2,119. Now, I only went to public school in Michigan, but even I know that 16,666 does not equal 2,119. Something stinks. For whatever reason, Benson, who studied political science, picked a fight with Elon Musk, who studied actual science, and Benson, of course, gets it wrong. Musk quotes the numbers that there are more registered voters in Michigan than adults. The Secretary of Sham says that's because there are 1.2 million inactive voters on the rolls, and she plans to purge them in 2027 after the election. Benson accuses Musk of spreading disinformation.
We will come for you.
But it is you who are discorrect, Madam Secretary. He's using your official numbers.
Go yourself.
Benson believes she is.
These people should be in jail. This Jocelyn Benson should be in jail.
The Kaiser of the collective
She Whitmer
will.
should be in jail.
Don't even think about it because we'll get you.
She says signatures on absentee ballot envelopes should be ignored. Firearms should be banned at polling places. Michigan, don't vote for Bobby Kennedy. That one man must be on the ballot even though he doesn't want to be, while another must be taken off the ballot even though he doesn't want to be. Madam Benson also insists you don't need proof of citizenship to register to vote in Michigan if you're living overseas and have never lived in America or Michigan.
Are you kidding me?
Musk is 100% correct. Something's not right when Michigan has a higher percentage of registered voters than Vermont. You know Vermont, where they all seem to have gone to college, speak French, and post the speed limit in kilometers.
Millionaires and billionaires.
That's right, Bernie. Now, we're not claiming fraud. Not yet. But why give the goons and baboons a reason?
I'm claiming fraud. I'm claiming fraud already. I'm claiming fraud. Telling you now, there's going to be fraud. There'll be. Michigan's going to be rife with fraud. That's just reality. So, yeah, don't bet on Michigan. That's okay. We won't need it. We won't need Michigan. Don't worry about it. We won't need it. I normally don't know what to use these for. Hey, the leader chiming in, member for 6 months. But I'd like to bring attention to the King of Spades tapestry. I recently finished. I'm really pleased how it turned out. Good job. Nice. Also, my cat is there being cute. Yeah. Hell the following. God bless. You used it perfectly. You used it perfectly. Don't worry, Master Phillips. I live near Detroit. I know black folks who don't know any Harris voters. My neighbors like my Harris Hamas 2024. Harris Hamas. She's got real eclectic backing there. Hamas, Nick Fuentes, the IRS, COVID. Everyone supports Kamala. Sorry about your state there. Joe Rogan Experience. So it's pretty widely hailed appearance. You can see why. Some great clips there. All right. So I want to share with you. I don't know what to make out of this. Before we get into Kamala. She's been having a rough week. This was at one of her rallies. Apparently, she had a whole bunch of doctors come up on stage. You know they're doctors and not actors because they've got the lab coats. So you know that they're literally, that they must be doctors.
I think someone needs some medical assistance over here.
Oh, that's not working. Let's make this a little louder. These are real doctors. Totally real doctors for Kamala. Totally real.
I think someone needs some medical assistance over here.
Well, we do. Is there a doctor here? Is there a doctor in the house? Is someone? What is happening? Yeah, that's that. So apparently that happened this week. In case you missed it, I missed it until now. And if you wonder what before we leave the Joe Rogan podcast altogether, if you wonder what Kamala would look like on the Joe Rogan podcast, here's actually a little clip of her. Here, it's totally real clip of her on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Joe, Donald Trump is literally Adolf Hitler.
You really think that? I don't know. I had him on, and it didn't feel like I was talking to Hitler.
Joe, what more evidence do you need? He's having a rally at Madison Square Garden that is just like the Nazi rally that happened there in 1939.
How is it like a Nazi rally?
Donald Trump is going to be speaking in front of 20,000 people, Joe.
And what makes them Nazis?
Because they're going to see a Nazi speak.
So you think that because he's a Nazi, if people go see him, that's a Nazi rally?
I can't believe I'm sitting in the same chair Hitler sat in.
You're really going hard on this Hitler thing, huh?
Joe, he said there were very fine people on both sides at Charlottesville.
Yeah, but he specifically said that didn't apply to the Nazis.
I like my version better.
His grandkids are Orthodox.
This is Danny Polishek who created this.
Version better.
His grandkids are Orthodox Jews.
And once he's in power, he's going to round them up.
He's going to round up his own grandkids and do what? Take them to Disney?
Probably some kind of work camp, maybe worse. Did I mention no tax on tips?
Yeah, you stole that from Trump.
Joe, he's a fascist. He's basically like one of those Russian nesting dolls where he's the big one. And then inside him is Mussolini. And inside that one is Hitler. And inside that one is Pol Pot. And inside that one is Putin. And inside that one is Kim Jong-il.
So is that your platform now? Basically just he's Hitler until election day?
That and joy.
Hitler and joy?
And no income tax. I just made that up right here.
Do you have any original ideas?
I thought the nesting doll thing was pretty good.
If you like that, make sure to subscribe and follow for more. I'm Donald Trump, and
that was Danny Polishek there. Pretty funny guy. This guy right here, Danny Polishek. It's pretty good. I can't wait for Trump's interplanetary tariffs. He's bringing probe production back to the U.S. Indeed, we do. I thought this guy was pretty funny also. This guy made me laugh. I think this guy was really funny, actually, from what I recall.
At this damn point, this a full-fledged comedy fucking movie. Your vice president just got on live television yesterday and said even though she's been studying and debating all this motherfucking time and she's been in office all this fucking time, she still got to go study the goddamn policies again before she give you a direct answer. Before she ever tell you anything, she got to go study that shit again while she fucking in office. You can't make this cartoon-ass movie shit up.
I don't know why I think he's so funny. I think he's awesome. We're gonna save the rest of this. Let's start watching some of Kamala. Kamala out of her town hall. Kamala's town hall. Good times await. Kamala out of her town hall. We'll come back to this. Maybe we'll save that for when she says she's gotta go back and study some more. Oh my god. All right, so that's your preview there. That's your preview. Let's see what we got. Here. CNN presidential town hall.
And welcome. We are live from Chester Township, Pennsylvania, Delaware County, one of the critical counties around Philadelphia that will help determine who wins the White House. Welcome to CNN's presidential town hall with the Democratic nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm Anderson Cooper. Now, in this room, we have assembled a group of 32 Pennsylvania voters who say they are still undecided or persuadable. All of them are registered to vote. Some cast votes for Joe Biden in 2020, others for Donald Trump. Some didn't vote at all, and for some, this is their first election. Many are leaning right now to one candidate or another, but they all say they have yet to make their final choice.
I have not seen this yet.
Now, we found these voters working with a nonpartisan research firm, as well as business and religious groups, universities, and other civic organizations. These voters are asking their own questions tonight, selected by CNN to cover a variety of topics. You may see them holding a piece of paper when they're asking their question. It has their question on it. That is a question they have come up with. It has not been edited in any way by CNN. We also invited former President Donald Trump to participate in a town hall or a debate. He declined. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Wisely so.
Vice President Kamala Harris. And Vice President, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks. You have a mic right here. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Thanks so much for being with us. We're going to get to the audience in just a second. I want to start by asking you, though, for weeks you have been calling Donald Trump unstable, unhinged. You've called him dangerous. You've quoted General Milley recently, who called him a fascist. Today, you quoted General Kelly, who said that Trump repeatedly praised Hitler.
Yeah.
But there are tens of millions of Americans right now who have heard all those things and they don't buy it, or even if they do, they're still going to vote for Donald Trump. He's arguably more popular now than ever. You have 13 days to go. What do you say to those voters to convince them? Because some of them are in this room.
Sure, and I thank you all for taking the time to be here. And
have you compared current polling to Obama-Romney polling? Romney took leading polls for most October. Check Real Clear Politics 2012. Polling line graph similar. No, it's not similar. It's not similar. He had a bit of a boost when Obama had a terrible debate. And then Obama came back and looked fine in the next debate. And that was basically how he ended up having some sort of bounce back. Also, Romney collapsed near the finish. Like the whole binders full of women thing. I don't think comparing Romney was never a candidate that anyone was excited about. It was just like, oh, okay, he looks presidential. But yeah, I don't think that shouldn't give you any reason for concern at all. Joe, I sent a really funny video to your XDMs. I think you'll enjoy. Great parody the Men for Kamala ad. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for the generous super chat. I will try to pull that up. Let me see if I have that here. For some reason, my hard drive direct messages are slow to pop up. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna try to come to this. Thank you, Magoose. It looks like I haven't heard any of it yet, but it looks solid. Just from the opening flash. Thank you. How sore are your Torah feet, They actually are pretty sore. They were sore. Over Shabbos, I got a chance to rest them, but they were sore.
You could be doing a number of other things with your time. So this really is proof that
I'm then watching this cluster part.
we love our country. People are engaged, Anderson, and really want to talk about the issues. And so the issue that you raise, yes, I do believe that Donald Trump is unstable, increasingly unstable, and unfit to serve. And I don't necessarily think that everyone has heard what you and I have heard repeatedly, which is the people who know Donald Trump best, the people who worked with him in the White House, in the Situation Room, in the Oval Office, all Republicans, by the way, who served in his administration, his former chief of staff.
She does the whole swallow
his
thing already.
National Security Advisor.
Don't give us names. Don't give us names because they're the same names we heard 47,000 times.
Former secretaries of defense and his vice president have all called him unfit and dangerous. They have said explicitly he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. They have said he should never again serve as president of the United States. We know that is why Mike Pence is not running with him again, why the job was empty.
No, the job wasn't empty. No one wanted Mike Pence. It would have been that's the stupidest thing in the world. No one actually believes that for a second. They're like, oh yeah, he would have Mike Pence back, right? Yeah, Mike Pence turned him down.
And then today we learned that John Kelly, a 4-star Marine general, who was his longest serving chief of staff, gave an interview recently in the last 2 weeks of this election, talking about how dangerous Donald Trump is. And I think one has to think about, why would someone who served with him, who is not political, a 4-star Marine general.
What makes them not political? Why you say they're not political?
Why?
She looks so nervous all the time. It's so unsettling watching her swallow over and over again. That's what he said.
Why is he telling the American people now? And frankly, I think of it as he's just putting out a 911 call to the American people.
That's what you'd like to think.
Understand what could happen if Donald Trump were back in the White House.
Not at all, because he's looking for appointments or anything like that in the hopes that somehow you miraculously salvage this campaign.
And this time, we must take very seriously those folks who knew him best and who were career people are not going to be there to hold him back. At least before, there were folks who we know what he would say, but they would restrain him. Imagine now, Donald Trump in the Oval Office.
He doesn't seem very
in the Situation Room. He who is open.
She's so nervous. Oh my God. She doesn't believe what she's saying. That's why she swallows so much.
Openly admired dictators, said he would be a dictator on day one.
No, he didn't. That's a lie.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Did he say wave a pen and throw people in jail and then just dismiss the charges afterwards? Did he say that? Because that sounded pretty dictatorial, Mama.
Has said he is a fascist to the core. So I think that when the American people reflect, especially
you said Hitler, though. Why did you say Hitler? You said Hitler.
Those who are undecided on who you should listen to. Don't take my word for it. In fact, go online and listen to John Kelly, his voice, talking about what he thinks.
You said Hitler. You didn't say fascist. You said Hitler.
Of Donald Trump 2 weeks before the election, because I think we all know, to your point, Anderson, it is close, but there are undecided voters who clearly, by being here, have an open mind, want to talk in a way that is grounded in issues and fact. And when they hear these facts, I think it compels a lot of people.
Someone saying what they think about him is not facts.
To be concerned
That's just them expressing
the future
their
of our
opinion.
country with Donald Trump at the lead.
You've quoted General Milley calling Donald Trump a fascist. You yourself have not used that word to describe him. Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I also believe that the people who know him best on this subject should be trusted. again, look at their careers. These are not people, with the exception, I think, of only Mike
Ask her about
Pence. These
Hitler.
were not
Why Hitler?
politicians. These are career people who have served in the highest roles in national security, who have served as generals in our military, who are highly respected. Talking about the person who would be commander-in-chief, not to mention
She looks so uncomfortable.
what we know and what they've told us about how he talks about the military, servicemen and women, referring to them as suckers and losers.
What are you talking about?
How he demeans people who have taken an oath to sacrifice their life for our country.
Anderson.
And I do believe, Anderson, that part of this is why, even just this week, I traveled this state and others with Liz Cheney, former Congress member who was...
Who is it that's like swayed by Liz Cheney? Who's the guy or gal? I want to meet the folk. I want to meet the folk who are swayed
very
by...
high-ranking Republican. She
high-ranking
has endorsed
Republican.
me. Her
Oh,
father, the
wow.
former Vice President of the United States, Dick.
I mean, just listen to how desperate they are. It's like the Cheneys. Whoever liked the Cheneys? Either one of them. Either one of them. Oh my God.
Cheney is voting for me.
Oh,
Over 400 previous members of the administration, from Ronald Reagan to both Presidents Bush to Donald Trump, even, have endorsed my candidacy. And the reason why, among them, is a legitimate fear based
fear.
on Donald Trump's words and actions.
Words and
that
actions.
he
Which actions? Because you only talk about words. I haven't seen the actions.
will not obey an oath to
Whoa.
support and defend the Constitution of the United States. He himself has said he would terminate
No,
the
he hasn't.
Constitution of the United States
That's a
and wants
lie.
to earn your vote to stand again
did not
behind the
say that.
seal of the President of the United States.
You're the one who's terminating the First Amendment. You want to terminate the Second Amendment.
No one standing behind the seal of the
Oh, for the
President
love of
the
God.
United States of
She
America
tries so hard to drum up drama.
should be in that
Behind the
position
seal.
saying they want to terminate the Constitution of the United States.
Let's get to some of our voters. I want you to meet a registered Republican who's very concerned about Trump's views on democracy and January 6th. She told us she's looking for a reason to vote for you, but is yet to make her final decision. Her name is Natasha Kwiatkowski. She's a student at Bryn Mawr College. What's your question, Natasha?
Awesome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking my question.
Republican who, what? Okay. Undecided. Okay. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
And as someone who hasn't fully committed to either party, how do you plan to address the concerns of independent voters and anti-Trump Republicans like myself who feel
Anti-Trump Republicans.
left out of the polarized political landscape? And what specific actions would you take to bridge the political divide and create more unity?
That's a wonderful question. I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
Oh, very much so.
And I think, to the point of, in the spirit of your
Unless they're parents of truants, in which case she's throwing them in jail. So they're scary folk, and we need money, and she likes money.
question, that people are frankly exhausted with what has been happening over the last several years, which is this environment that is suggesting that Americans should be pointing fingers at one another.
That's
that
all
we
you've
are
been doing for the
divided
first
as a
7
nation,
minutes here.
instead of what I think you and I will speak for us, I think, who believe and know the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us.
Oh my God.
And I think that the American people deserve to have a president who is grounded in what is common sense, what is practical, and what is
I hope this is her whole thing, because this is a loser from the get-go. This is not compelling
the
anyone.
best interest of the people, not themselves.
This is not
I
swaying
started
anyone.
my career as a prosecutor.
Oh,
And
there
I
you
will
go.
tell you, I never in most of my career was outside of Washington, D.C., by the way. Only 4 years when I was in the Senate were in Washington, other than being vice president. I have never in my career as a prosecutor asked a victim or a witness
Oh
of a
God,
crime,
the same line over again about what the political thing was.
are you a Democrat or a Republican? The only thing I've ever asked is, are you okay?
It's like, my God. Same lines. Nothing new. Let's go to part two. Are you okay?
Revealed that Donald Trump, when he was
I don't think
president,
she asked anyone, are you
during
okay?
extreme
She asked
disasters,
truant
when it
parents.
came time to determine how those areas, those people who had been traumatized by extreme weather would get relief, he asked the question, did they vote for him?
What are you talking about?
I believe the American people deserve better.
What the hell are you talking about?
And they deserve.
Notice how she's not even saying what she's going to do to bridge the divide. She's just talking about how bad Trump is. She hasn't said a single thing about what she's going to do to bridge the divide because she doesn't have any answers. It's just Trump.
A president who is focused on solutions, not sitting
What is the solution? What's the unity? Tell us about the unity.
in the Oval Office plotting their revenge and retribution.
You're a weirdo. Where's part two? I want part two. Part two. Do I have a part two? Oh, come on. It's in 10 parts? Oh, for the love of God. This is so stupid. We should just watch the 5 worst moments. Let's put this aside. I'm curious about that. All right. I'm not going to sit here going through all 10 parts, right? That's not happening. Is it really 10 parts? Let's see what we got here. Let's see him pressing her on the border wall.
He's a student at Drexel University from Flourtown, Pennsylvania, registered Republican, says he's leaning toward voting for you, but is yet to make a final decision. Jackson.
Thank you.
Kids today. Her voice is terrible. Generals are political appointees. I know a lot of people on the right forget that. A great many of them shouldn't have that job. Yeah, that's true. Only way you reach general is political. Yep. A young college woman Republican. I didn't believe that either. That's what I said. I'm like, yeah, okay. Imagine someone asked her to find monetary inflation. Tucker gave one of the greatest speeches at the Turning Point rally this week, worth watching, about 20 minutes, really good, and basically puts a call to action. I'm with him 100%. I don't know if I have time for that tonight. I want to actually go through some of these moments from this thing. And here's Anderson Cooper pressing her on the border wall. So I want to hear what she has to say on this.
Hey, Anderson.
Hey, Jackson.
Thank you for taking the time to be here too, Vice President Harris.
Thank you.
Regarding the rapid increase in the migrant population, how will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely? What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with? And how long will these benefits?
All right, here's Jackson's first problem is the notion that every legal immigrant should be integrated. Why would you say such a thing when you know there's 13,000 of them are criminals? What are you, like, this is, how much fluff? It's like, I feel like some of the product from his hair has leaked into his ears and is clouding his brain.
Benefits and subsidies last for an individual? Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, how much money will be allocated?
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this.
All right, let's break down this question one more time because there's a lot there. So first, we want to know how they're being integrated.
How will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely?
Okay, which is a stupid question.
What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with?
Okay, that's pretty sad. This is what you're concerned about, how they're getting benefits and subsidies. Unless you're concerned that they're going to get too much.
And how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual?
Maybe I don't even know what.
Most importantly, will Will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, how much money will be allocated?
So
Well,
maybe
thank
he
you,
is
Jackson.
concerned.
Let's-
Maybe he is concerned about them spending too much money on the. I don't know where he's coming from.
Start with this. America's immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it's not any answer at all.
And it's been broken for a long time.
And that's not any answer at all.
And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
No one cares about that at all. No one has ever cared about that. It's not remotely relevant to the issue. You're also the only person in this race who said that she hasn't been to Europe. I mean, who the hell? How is that relevant? I mean, that's much more relevant. Who the hell cares? Who the hell cares? How many businesses have you started in Mexico? Is that relevant? No, it's not.
In the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and
I keep saying the same stupid lines over
that
and over again.
we do not allow criminals in, and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country.
Very impressive.
And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead of fix the problem. You may know there were some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress working with others.
Weren't.
They came up with a border security bill.
This is not addressing the question at all.
1,500 more border agents at the border.
Would have
Those
kept
border
the border
agents
open
are
forever.
overwhelmed. They need the support. They need the backup.
The border agents are not supporting you in the election for some reason.
It would have allowed us to have more resources to stem the flow of fentanyl. I don't need to tell this state and people around the country what is happening in terms of the scourge of fentanyl and how it is literally killing Americans.
The question is, how are you integrating and how much it's going to cost?
It would have put resources into stemming the flow. It would have given more resources to prosecute, to investigate and prosecute transnational criminal organizations. It would have done a lot of good.
No one.
Donald Trump got
It would have done a
wind
lot of terrible, actually. She's so bad at this. She's so
of
bad
the
at
bill
this.
and told them, don't put it forward. He killed the bill because he
Killed the bill. Killed the bill. Thank God he did.
prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. We have to have a secure border and we have to have a comprehensive.
The question was, how are you going to integrate the people who are here? How much are you spending on their social services? And how much will that cost taxpayer? What the hell are you talking about?
Pathway for citizenship.
Let me-
And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed. That was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
That's a good question, Anderson. Why didn't you do that in 2022, 2023? Why not? What happened?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration.
But if it was
low-
that
but
easy
hold on,
with
let
that
me finish.
executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. Congress has
So we had to leave it wide open.
the authority and the purse. I hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed.
We talk about how you suck at your job.
They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, We need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel down there to deal with processing.
Really?
But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in
Really?
in terms of dedicating the resources to
Which guy
actually
said that?
fixing the problem. We have dealt with it.
Why couldn't you shut the border down the way you did 2 years ago?
Such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
Nope, not true. You have 100,000 per month now. He had like 60.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution, and that requires bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have.
What's the answer to this guy's question about how you're going to integrate them and what you're going to do with them? What's your answer? I got nothing.
Bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you.
Pledge
that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing.
Oh Lord, you suck, you idiot.
Standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it.
Yeah.
On both sides of the aisle, and it's time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside.
I like how they put more blonde highlights in her hair to make her to try and excuse. I think it's offensive to blonde people, perhaps. I don't know.
We know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So,
what's she laughing about?
Remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall?
Jeez, answer the question.
Wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came for time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that.
It's like her brain is like in its own place. He's talking about one thing and she starts talking like goes over like veers over to Trump. This is painful. Listen,
pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan.
This is like Amber Heard's pledge. This is Amber Heard's pledge right here.
Bill to further strengthen and secure our border.
That bill would destroy America forever. It would. If that bill passes, you should leave. I'm telling you right now, that bill would destroy America.
Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question
that you completely dodged and didn't answer at all. His question was, what are you going to do with the immigrants who are here? How much taxpayer money are you spending on it?
Part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration.
No, that's not at all what his question was.
But there needs to be a legal process for it. People have.
That's not what he was talking about. What the hell are you talking about?
And that's the point that I think is the most important point that
no one was talking about this. You just literally just flipped over
can
here.
Be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, jeez.
Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
Oh, you don't want the problem fixed. That's why you left the border open for 4 years.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
Now we want to build the wall
anymore.
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about
you just
that
talked
wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Oh my God. What a disaster. What an utter disaster. Completely never answered the question. Just circling around and no. I mean, the answer for why they didn't put in those executive actions 3 years ago is because we need a congressional problem. And he's like, can't you walk and chew gum at the same time? No, because we need a congressional answer. Oh, okay. Wear a tie so we can say you're a registered Republican. I mean, Dylan totally exposed Kamala's full corrupt career history on Tucker Carlson's show recently that everyone should watch if you haven't yet. She's a pretty smart woman. She's a pretty smart woman. She's a pretty smart person. She's mind-numbing stupid. Yes, indeed. Her trembling, shaky voice gives me anxiety. It's very unsettling. It's very unsettling. The gray matter between her ears is actually dried up. I feel offended by her blonde highlights. That's a cultural appropriation since she's black. Black people do not have naturally blonde. Yeah, it is. The blonde highlights there, I think it's to give her a pass or something. I don't know what it's for. But I wanted to see. Let's see if it changed their minds. Let's see what they say.
How many of you, show of hands, will leave tonight planning to support the vice president? 2 have made a final decision. You came in leaning that way?
Pretty much right in the middle.
Okay.
White dude. This guy's totally a plant.
Okay. Came in
leaning.
Leaning, and now you're decided.
Yes.
Okay. Now, 3 of you have not. So let me start with you first, Joe. Why?
I think there are still, first off, I certainly respect the vice president and the work that she is doing in her office.
For what?
I think that there are still some, at least for me, some personal policy differences. I don't think that, I still can't get behind her policies on abortion. That's just something that I can't get behind, because that's the right to life is so fundamental in this country that it becomes, without that right being respected, it's incredibly difficult to talk about anything else. So I have a policy difference, a number of policy differences with her. That's the biggest one that comes to mind. But at the same time, I'm still not sold on the former president either, just because of his personality, his actions on January 6th.
Oh, get over it,
just
you
the
child.
way that sometimes he treats people.
Get over it.
That gets to be a little bit difficult.
The way he treats people. She spent the last hour calling him Hitler.
For me.
So 2 quick follow-ups, sir. Number 1, so you're not leaving here planning to vote for Trump. You're leaving here still not knowing what to do.
I came in here leaning in the direction of the former president. I have not made a final decision.
The vice president approached you as she was walking out, and we could hear a little bit of it from afar, but you were having a conversation about your disagreement on abortion.
Yes.
Obviously, you still disagree with her. What did it mean to you that she took the time to talk to you? Did it mean anything at all?
It meant quite a bit, actually. I will respect that. Anybody who's willing to hear ideas that are in opposition to her.
She didn't hear anything. She just spat back her same stupid talking points.
And that's, or to anybody's really, for that matter.
I can't. I tried. I can't. It's like, no. I can't listen to this guy. I tried. Is there anyone else who's got like something to say? Let's find someone else. Let's see if we get anything better here. I need something. It means a lot that she came out here desperately trying to win an election. It means so much.
Link to get you to absolutely. What is it?
That's a tough question. I guess a lot of the foreign policy is really my biggest concern, but overall, I think.
What is her
she's
foreign
a better
policy?
Candidate.
Okay. And you're a registered Republican.
I'm an independent.
You're an independent now.
Yes.
Who'd you vote for in 2020?
I voted for Trump.
You voted for Trump.
Yes.
So if you vote for Harris, in the math, that's a big deal, especially where we live here in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to
How's your math figure that one vote is a big deal? How?
that as well. You also had a conversation
I did.
with the vice president after. She immediately, you're the first one she sought out.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Tell me about it. What you can. I don't want to violate your privacy or her privacy,
That's okay.
but to the point.
I really felt that, and I really.
I don't believe any of these
I
folks.
came out of this feeling just kind of a feeling of adoration of her personally. I think
This is not one of the people who raised their hand. I don't believe any of these folks. I don't believe any of them. I think they're all full of, they're all full of hot garbage. I did want to check this out. We should pause now. We should pause and check out Real Men for Harris. Real Men for Harris is shared with me by Magoose. I haven't vetted this yet, so I guess there should be a warning label on this. Real Men for, I just saw the ski mask and I was like, Real Men for Harris, dude in overalls with the ski mask. This is what I need to see now. This is what we all need. This is cleansing the palate. It's cleansing the palate.
Real man votes for Kamala Harris. A Kamala Harris voter takes care of his own yard. Can somebody... Hey, can somebody get this started for me? A man that votes for Kamala Harris knows exactly how to use a sawzall and screw things up or screw things in. Find me a Trump supporter that enjoys nature more than a Kamala Harris voter. A vote for Kamala Harris is not a vote against your guns. We have guns too.
This is good.
Hey, do we need to redo that, you guys? Do we need to? Oh my God! We don't all own fancy cars. Us hill people for Harris don't need no chasers or shot glasses. We drink straight from the bottle. I hope you all know that, we really need you to get out and vote. And the men for Harris, we need to get out and vote and do the right thing. And only the real men are going to not vote for Trump. They're going to vote for vote for Kamala Harris.
All right. I don't know where we went there at the end. I was cleansing the palate, though. How do you respect the Lenny of politics? The Lenny? I don't get that one, old guy. Cherry pick panelists, all fake panel, they're actors. I don't believe any of them. Joe, you had a chance to catch any work Candace Owens has done regarding Kamala's heritage ancestry. It's mind-boggling. I saw Judge Joe Brown talk about it, but I haven't been watching Candace. To be fair with y'all, I've not been watching much of Candace lately. How much more of this do I have to watch? Oh, this is what I wanted to watch. All right, this is...
Vice President Kamala Harris met...
Sky News is not a fan of Kamala Harris. They're not. Sky News in Australia, not fans of the Mamala. So they're gonna give us their favorite moments, from the town hall.
May have just had her worst performance yet. I know there have been some shocking performances in recent weeks. Now she's finally started doing some tough interviews, but this performance at CNN's town hall has to be one of her worst performances of the campaign so far.
What weaknesses do you bring to the table and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe. Well, I am certainly not perfect. So let's start there. And I think that perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process Different perspectives. My team will
Oh
tell
my
you
God.
I'm constantly saying, let's kick the tire on that. Let's kick the tires on it.
Look, you may like Kamala Harris, but her skills really fall short when it comes to speaking off script to an audience. Now, the presidential hopeful took part in CNN's town hall in Pennsylvania on Wednesday, which was moderated by Anderson Cooper. And you be the judge if you think this answer was convincing.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years. You were vice president, not the president. But why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done.
Kamala Harris was asked again the obvious question, how will her administration be different? Something she still can't communicate effectively.
I represent a new generation of leadership on a number of issues and believe that we have to actually take new approaches. For example, what we talked about in terms of housing. My experience that leads to that priority includes what I did to take on the big banks around the foreclosure crisis when I brought billions of dollars to homeowners that were the subject of predatory lending. I know what home ownership means to the American people, not to mention what it meant.
That's good that you do, because unfortunately, anyone under 40 no longer knows what home ownership means. But she knows what it is. She knows what it means. She comes from middle class home.
My mother, who worked very hard and saved
here we go.
so that by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy our first home. I bring to it my experience actually taking care of my mother when she was sick, and it was, as it turned out, dying from cancer. And so I know what it means and have the experience of taking care of an elderly relative, and I have raised children.
No, you haven't.
And so I bring to
You have no kids. No, you haven't. What are you talking about? You having a stepkid? I'm sorry. With some teenage stepkid? That's like raised. Really?
my priorities and will, as president, a new approach and a new idea, frankly, about.
He's actually raised kids. He's actually raised. How is that a new approach? What the heck is that a new approach? What answers do you have?
What we need to do to deal with the sandwich generation.
Another question the vice president should have been prepared for is why the crisis at the southern border has escalated under her leadership, and if Donald Trump was wrong for his plans to build a wall.
Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border. Going to bring forward border. I think Jackson's has people have to aid, which is we need a perspective on. I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occur. Did not that wall.
The Democrats are obsessed with Donald Trump. The Democrats have been in power for 12 out of the last 16 years, but all they want to do is blame every problem on Donald Trump. And is that because he's a genuine threat to democracy like they say he is, or because he's a threat to their power? Kamala Harris has had every opportunity to turn down the heat on the rhetoric in this campaign, but should rather convince Americans that the Republican candidate is someone we should all fear.
Do you believe Donald Trump is anti-Semitic?
I believe Donald Trump is a danger to the well-being and security of America.
Earlier in the day, Kamala Harris was speaking about comparisons being drawn between Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler. Commentator Alex Stein joined Power Hour to give his analysis. Joining us now is comedian Alex Stein. Alex, great to see you. Let's get straight into the comments from the woman who is no longer the favourite to win this election. Here she is.
This is a window into who Donald Trump really is, from the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room.
And this has become the new thing.
It is clear from John Kelly's words that Donald...
They're desperately trying to portray him. That's the final stretch here. They're desperately trying to portray him as this fascist dictator, Hitler thing. This is what they're hitting on really hard now. This is the big October surprise. Surprise! He's Hitler. And this is the best they got. They already know. You have to realize October surprise is supposed to come a little bit earlier now because there's early voting. So it's sort of like their early voting number is not going well so far.
Trump is someone who, I quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascist.
Alex, does this sound like someone who believes?
That's what you were talking about. How do you expect millennial politics? Well, maybe she likes rabbits too. It's buffoon just said, don't let her pet puppies. Look at the vacant look at her eyes while listening to the questions, like drunk right before a sobriety test. She does look terrible. She's
They can
really
win the
collapsing.
election because they're the best person to lead or because they have the best policies? Or actually, is it someone who will go to extreme lengths to smear their opponent?
Well, I mean, obviously it's the latter. Kamala Harris will compare Trump to Hitler, which they think that what they're doing is trying to demonize Hitler. Excuse me. What they think they're doing, they're trying to demonize Donald Trump, but they're humanizing Hitler, who wanted to mass exterminate millions of people.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. Donald Trump wants to save people. He didn't start any wars when he was president. So it's absolutely absurd how they use this rhetoric and compare him to the worst human being in world history when Donald Trump loves America and he loves this country. And Kamala Harris, I cannot say the same for her. I don't think she loves America like Donald Trump does.
Well said. Kamala Harris is doing interviews now really because she has to. She can't hide anymore. And she was asked by NBC News why she's performing so poorly with men. Let's take a listen.
Right now, there is a big gender gap in this race. Fewer men support you right now than they did President Biden. Some of your allies have suggested there's sexism at play. I wonder, do you think there is sexism at play here?
Let me just tell you something. You've come to my events, and you will see there are men and women at those events, whether it be small events or events with 10,000 people.
Alex, why is she performing so badly with men?
Well, because she's untalented. It has nothing to do with...
It's not just that. It's that none of her platform is actually aimed toward men. Nothing. Whether she's talking about her abortion, whether she's talking about IVFs, nothing is designed. They spent the last how many years telling everyone that men are the problem. So, yeah, at this point, men are kind of tired of it. And nothing in our platform there is geared towards bringing men on board. If anything, the cringy commercials they have with white dudes for Harris basically are the most alienating thing in the world. They make you feel as if like they have no idea what men actually think, act like, talk like. It's a pathetic caricature of what men are supposed to be. So yeah, that's why you're not getting any men. That's why men are running away from her.
The fact that she's a female, it's just that, you look at her history and where she got to, become the attorney general, her relationships with men. I mean, some people here in America create a narrative that she might have used her sexuality to make it. And a lot of men are probably frustrated with that because she was literally chosen as a DEI candidate because she was an African-American
What's
woman.
with the pantsuits?
So instead of having a meritocracy here in this country, we're choosing the second most powerful person in the country based on their skin color. So I can see why a lot of men are frustrated, especially people that think that they could never be eligible for that position because they are a man. So I think it's rightfully so that a lot of men are not on Kamala Harris's side. I'm not surprised one bit. And we kind of saw this with Hillary Clinton in 2016, but I think it's much worse with Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Let's look at the campaign funding, because what I find amazing is that Kamala Harris's campaign is starting to dive at the moment, yet her campaign has reportedly raised more than...
Well, Barrett Boy is saying that his point was not candidate performance, but media manipulation through manufactured poll reporting. There definitely is some manufactured poll reporting, but I think that you can't have consistently the same all the time. They're underestimating him by 3 to 6 points consistently, unless there's manufactured. And you can manufacture it by basically deciding which areas you're going to poll, and then focus heavily on Democrats and be like, oh, look at this, look at the numbers, So
3 times as much as Donald Trump's just in September. And her combined campaign and affiliated groups has passed the $1 billion mark. Alex, what does that tell you about the amount of money that is being raised and that is being spent, and why it's just not working for Kamala Harris?
Well, it's not working for her, but here in Texas, Ted Cruz is in a tough race with Colin Allred, and Colin Allred has gotten over $11 million compared to Ted Cruz's $8.5 million from all foreign and out-of-state donors. So all these people are throwing money behind Kamala Harris. It's not necessarily going to be the difference that makes her win. So these people are doing whatever they can. This is the fourth quarter. This is her Hail Mary, and I really hope the American people show up.
I agree with him on that completely. Speaking of her popularity or lack thereof, I want to share this little clip from you. I want to show this little clip here from Betterman. Where are you? Where are you? Here it is. Check this out.
She is running almost at a tie in your state. You've said that Trump has a special connection with the people of
100%.
Pennsylvania. Why? What is it that you...
I will tell you this. If he wins Pennsylvania, it's almost impossible for him to lose. It's almost impossible for him to lose if he takes Pennsylvania.
you see that he appeals to in your state?
There's a difference between not understanding, but also acknowledging that it exists. And anybody spends time driving around and you can see the intensity. It's astonishing. I was doing an event in Indiana County, very, very red. And there was a superstore of Trump stuff. And it was 100 feet long. And it was dozens of T-shirts and hats and bumper stickers and all kinds of, I mean, it's like, where does this all come from? I mean, it was almost like Taylor Swift kind of swag. It's like of everything. It wasn't just a sign. It's the kinds of thing that has taken on its own life on that. And it's like something very special exists there. And that doesn't mean that I admire it. It's just like, it's real. And now
I think it's also Butler, Pennsylvania. I think Butler, Pennsylvania was a real boon for him in Pennsylvania. I think they feel an extra connection to him because of the
She is running almost
the attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania. And again, I think if she wins, I think if he wins Pennsylvania, I think it's over. But I mentioned earlier about how she's been struggling. She's had a difficult week. Here's more from her difficult week.
We are fighting for America's future, and we understand the opportunity we have before us to turn the page on the fear
That is not good. I'm gonna start throwing tomatoes soon. That is not good. That is not good. I don't remember seeing a politician get that before. That is not good. If you're a Kamala supporter, that is not good at all. I promised I was going to show you the rest of that clip from that guy. In case you joined late, we'll start from the beginning. This guy made me laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh.
At this damn point, this a full-fledged comedy fucking movie. Your vice president just got on live television yesterday and said even though she's been studying and debating all this motherfucking time and she's been in office all this fucking time, she still got to go study the goddamn policies again before she give you a direct answer. Before she ever tell you anything, she got to go study that shit again while she fucking in office. You can't make this cartoon-ass movie shit up. You can't make this shit up. This bitch is retarded. She don't answer questions. Every last one of y'all that's following this bitch is retarded. And they're gonna keep going gaslight you, talk about the lesser of two evils. Well, the lesser of two can fucking complete a fucking sentence. Can answer one fucking question. One. I'm asking for one fucking answer to anything. This bitch go all the way around. All we know about is she was a middle-class fucking child, and we did it, Joe. That's all the fuck we know about this bitch.
Oh, this guy made me laugh. He's not alone in his outrage, though. He ain't alone in the outrage. No, sirree, Bob.
And I've never spoken of him on.
I can't share that again. I can't share that again. Was this the clip I wanted? I don't remember. I don't remember this guy. I don't remember this. I don't remember this. I don't remember what this. I don't remember what this guy said. I don't remember what he said.
She's putting herself out there fearlessly, facing down even her harshest critics. She's seeking out Republicans to find common ground. And unlike her opponent, she's not ducking interviews or cowering in safe spaces only with fawning audiences. No, she's showing us what a sane, stable leader looks like.
You see some they were saying that the brothers weren't coming out for her. Well, I guess a couple of them are. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. And then there was this guy also. This was the guy I wanted to share with you. So it's a mix. I'm giving you a mix of different black men's take from different black men on Kamala. Where they're at right now.
Y'all listen. Kamala has officially fucked up. I'm gonna tell you why. My grandma been a Democrat her whole life. We sometimes we get into little arguments. We had no fell out. I couldn't even go to family functions, the dinner. But listen, I went and talked to my grandma, and guess what happened, y'all? Guess what the fuck happened? Grandma say, fuck Kamala, Kulala, whatever the hell, Kool-Aid, whatever the hell her name is. Grandma say, fuck her. Grandma said she is not about to let this Jezebel send her to hell. I say, what? You ain't about to what? Grandma say she ain't know she for all that sin. Grandma say she ain't know Kamala was for all that sin. I say, Grandma, she full of it. She full of sin. Grandma say she ain't doing it. She ain't doing it. She done turned her back on her. For my grandma to say she ain't voting Democrat and she can't stand Trump, you done fucked up, sister. You done fucked up. My grandma say she survived Jim Crow and she made it out. So she said if Trump really is racist, she said she'll make it. But she said one thing she can't make it out of is hell. She said she can't make it out of hell. And she said that's just what is this. Listen, I know it's bad. Grandma called her, she called her a heifer, she called her a Jezebel, and she called her a harlot. If a black woman call you all three of them things, you done fucked up as a woman. I'm here to tell you now. And Kamala, grandma said, fuck you.
Well, there you go. There you go. I will share this with you also. I was talking to the holidays. So a relative of mine was an older woman. She's a 80-year-old Jewish woman who, even though she's religious, she spent her entire life as part of the Democratic Party. Entire life. And she asked me about you guys. She asked me about the people who view me, like what they think of Trump and like what type of audience you are, like what your values tend to be. And I said most of them are very realistic about his strengths and his weaknesses. Most of them recognize that he definitely has flaws as a human being. He has, certain issues of vanity or perhaps vulgarity at times. but that his policies have been pretty great. And she's like, but what are their values? Like, where are they from? Like, where she was really asking about you. This is an 80-year-old woman. She's 80, I don't know, between 80 and 85. I don't know her exact age. And I said, they're really like, they're very strong believers in constitutional values, that they believe in First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, due process. They believe in fairness for all people, irrespective of their race or gender or religion or anything of that nature. And that there's been this growing distrust that they feel as if our government is just not always the good guys. And that there's a lot of politicians who are dictated by self-interest rather than caring about America. And they're very, very frustrated by that. So, and she told me she has never, ever in her life voted for Republican. And that she doesn't like Trump, but she's voting for him. And I was very heartened by that. I was very, very heartened by that. So I think there's a lot of people like that grandma there. There's a lot of folks like that who are just like, you can't, this is like, we're past the politics, and we're past like where you're coming from. We're at a stage where it's like, you know, Kamala's trying to constantly talk about the whole boogeyman as how terrible Trump is. That's her whole platform. But the policies that this administration has brought and that she's looking to continue have been so disastrous. That's why everything is falling apart for the Democrats. The only way they could have possibly, the best thing they could have done was they needed her to get on board and say, I'm totally fine not running for office, and passed it over to someone who was dissociated with the current administration. Because whoever was going to come in here for the Democrats, if they were going to have a chance, they need to basically distance themselves and be able to freely bash the mistakes of this administration and say, look, these are the things I'm going to be doing differently. And she was caught in this no man's land where she was like, did she do anything? She's the vice president. They don't normally do anything, but Biden's kind of disabled. So maybe she did do stuff. And then she basically doubled down and married herself to the positions of this administration, which have been a disaster. So they tried pumping up how great this administration was and going on this whole tour that they did during the summer about how this is a historically great administration, and hoping that they could lie their way through that and gaslight America into believing that. And that was a complete and total failure. Everyone's like, no, everything sucks. Everything sucks. And this is why I was able to predict. This is why I said in the summer, I said our numbers are going to go up, and then the numbers will start to crater starting in September. So mid-September, you're going to see the numbers start to come down for her. And they're going to continue into October, and it's going to get worse for her into October and then into November. So you want to know why it's going to get worse in September? People got to pay bills in September. You know why it get worse in October? People got to pay bills again in October, and your bills are terrible. They just are. That's just the reality of the situation. You can't gaslight your way past someone's insurance bill that they got to pay. You can't gaslight them into saying, "Don't worry, you're able to. You have enough money for food. You have enough money for rent." You can't gaslight people into believing that, like, oh, they actually have some sort of hope of owning a home, buying a home, their first home. No one's really buying it. And with respect to the whole men thing, the other thing that I meant to mention that I kind of forgot, even the positivity that they're trying to portray was very poor campaign strategy if you're trying to bring in men. And this is something I haven't heard anywhere else, but it's my own thought. If you're trying to bring in men, the word joy is just not a word men use. It just isn't. We just don't use joy. We don't think of joy. It's just not an American man word to use. We just don't. See, even that word, which is designed to create this ambiance, this atmosphere of camaraderie or under a big tent or excitement or whatever, it's not really inclusive to men. It's just not a word that we just don't use that word. It's got more of a feminine type of quality to it. You picture, it just feels alienating. Everything about this feels alienating, from her laugh to her joy to her constant word salad back to Trump. Everything is just feels very toxic, very, very toxic. And that's why I'm pleased to see that they've run the most disastrous campaign. And every time she comes out, she trips all over her own feet and looks like an idiot, because she is. Her policies suck. She's just not a good person. Actually, a very terrible person, very unaccomplished person, considering what her resume says. And they can try and sit here and gaslight you, saying, oh, she did all this. She was a prosecutor. She was a senator. She was a vice president. She's got all these different talents. How can you tell? No, because she basically sucked at all of them. She really was terrible. She was pretty terrible at all of them. So I'm glad to see her crash and burn. Johnny Reb says, Tulsi had the best answer no one under 40 would understand. Kamala searches through a Rolodex of platitudes to find an answer that's somewhat associated with the question. That's exactly how she answers every question. Doesn't have anything to do with what the question is. But hey, you mentioned immigration. Let's talk about the border bill that he crushed because he prefers to run on a problem. It's terrible answers. Terrible. Awful. Mary Rose, someone explain why she wears the weird skinny pants. I'm no Hillary fan, but her pantsuits were good for her. Harris looks lopsided and like she's wearing leggings. Can't she afford stuff? There's nothing positive there. There's nothing. Statistics are numerical fiction when you have statistician fiction writers, padded numbers. Senator Lenny had a stroke, but Kamala was born. She's just not a very capable individual. Would an actual moderate centrist Democrat do better? You're saying like an actual like Hillary do better? I think they need to be out. They would have done better. It's obviously far too late for it now, but they would have done better if they had someone who was able to completely distance themselves from the crap fiesta of the Biden administration, between the border and all the illegal immigration and the crime and the skyrocketing inflation and all the crap that we've all seen for the last 4 years. If they want to say turn the page, but everyone recognizes that means staying with you. You're saying turn the page, that means leave you. That's what it really means. Nothing about this campaign made any sense. Nothing. And then they brought out Governor Walz here, who was the biggest crazy liberal lunatic weirdo looking dude with his weird lips and mouth that moves in 19 different directions at the same time, and everything, and thoroughly gaslighting. They really needed. Frankly, I think Gavin Newsom, what you're describing as Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer, I think they probably would have done better. I think they probably would have done better. They were very afraid that they were going to alienate black women. That was like the one stalwart that they figured we can rely on black women. We can't alienate black women by chasing off Kamala here. So that's why they sort of got locked into this position, which is ironic when you think about it, because the only reason she got the nomination for vice president was because she was a black woman. They're actually being hoisted on their own petard because they brought her in there because she's a black woman, and then they got stuck with her because she was a black woman. And she's not even a black woman. So go figure. Go figure. Eventually, people do not believe boy calling wolf, i.e. he's a racist, authoritarian, fascist, and German dictator. Yeah, I think no one buys that anymore. I think I agree with you. I think that's so tired and worn that no one's buying it. Kamala is the Deb Debil, like the foosball. That one's over my head, brother. She has more power than most VPs. She is tiebreaker in the Senate. Yeah, that's true. And the things she's voted for don't really help her either. So she's very talented back in these. Take a break, use the things and stuff. Yes, exactly. I've used the word joy. I've had a hot girlfriend named Joy. I got a lot of joy from Joy. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. Johnny Rep says trademark threat to democracy, threat to Democrat power and control. That's all it ever was. That's all it ever was. That's all it ever was. All right. I think I'm going to land my plane here. Time for me to bring it on home. I should be back here, God willing, tomorrow. We're back. The Jewish holidays are over. We're done with those. I'm in election fever mode. So make sure you sign up at goodlogic.locals.com. I'm going to try and do at least two this week. But I am definitely in election fever mode. I'm going to try and put out some videos. I'm going to be working really hard the next 10 days. This is crunch time. Get out there and vote. Vote and vote and vote again. Make sure your siblings vote, your neighbors vote. Make sure this needs to be a landslide. A landslide. I don't care if you're in Michigan. Do what you can. Do what you can, Michiganders. Do what you can. But get out there and vote. Trump 2024. That means vote against lab meat and specifically never, ever, 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 ever don't eat the bugs. Don't eat the bugs. I thank you all for joining me. I'll be back here, God willing, tomorrow evening. Till then, take care of yourselves. Godspeed. No. Oh, no. You cannot be a moderate, centrist, Democrat, collectivist, or led by... I was supposed to leave. I can't say Godspeed twice. You cannot be a moderate, centrist, Democrat, collectivist, or led by agitators. The best you can do is jingle your keys at the extremists. All right. Waterboy, the foosball is the devil. Oh, I didn't see Waterboy. What is the world coming to when Fetterman starts sounding like him? He's the most logical Democrat right now. It's sad to say, but it's true. It's true. Did I miss... Soltron says, was Kamala's skin color the only reason she was picked as VP? There were others to choose from. Supposedly, he was forced into taking her. And I missed this from fans saying, see the fake Kamala McDonald worker using women who died of cancer. Yes. Yeah, I saw. I was gonna cover this. I said Godspeed. I said Godspeed. I said good day, sir. There you go. And what word do they say? They say this brings me so much joy. So much joy. She was so excited that they found a picture of her. She was so excited, Morgan Freeman. I'm sure she took this down. Because apparently this is AI. Picture Kamala at McDonald's. Someone did an AI image where apparently it was a woman who died of cancer in 1997 that they stole her picture. You could see the same break front that this white woman standing in front of. You can tell even when you're looking at this picture, something's not adding up. Something ain't adding up. Yeah, it's that she obviously never worked there. And anyone who had a brain realized that. All right. That's over at Locals. I thank you for sharing that. I said Godspeed. I'm going to say it one more time, though. You know the drill. I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, my friends, have a good night and Godspeed.